Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Superhero Stuff You Should Know. This is The Amazing Spider-Man, and with me is...
Andrew Brock, everybody. How's it going?
And we're going to cover The Amazing Spider-Man, because why not? We're still on the Spider-Man train. We've moved into the next phase of Spider-Man movies, and going into the Andrew Garfield ones. So,
all right.
Here we are.
The one everybody shat on, but was actually good.
So, this is for all of you who are fans. But yes, no. We thought some of this could be interesting because there's a lot that's cool here in terms of the different suits, the lizard, and some scenes that did not make it into the movie. So we can dive in here. So
okay.
Let me move into the view here. This is cool. This is the first one we're going to start off with.
That is pretty cool.
This is from Josh Nizzi, and this kind of goes into what Tim Flattery was talking about to us last week about how, like, at a certain point you see just more digital art, digital environments, as opposed to the hand-drawn stuff, and we can start seeing that in The Amazing Spider-Man onwards when it comes to the Spider-Man movies. So this is from artist Josh Nizzi, and Nizzi did a bunch of these that we're going to look at in the beginning. But he said here in this write-up, quote, "They found this weird alleyway with a billboard in it. In the art, I just filled it in with garbage and set the mood with a little digital environment up above, with the logo, the tag that's on the wall. So, kind of cool."
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, like dirty fucking alleyway. So, I mean, mission accomplished.
It does carry on the Batman Begins type of vibe that they were injecting into Spider-Man, and this one with like the symbol of Spider-Man causing people to run away. It sort of feels like in this piece.
Right. Yeah, that was an interesting part from Flattery when he was saying like that was one of the last movies to be kind of done with more traditional concept art, and soon after that it was all probably maybe not all but mostly replaced by digital art like this, which is fine. It's just different.
Yeah, you can feel the shift. You can feel the differences coming up. So this is interesting. I don't remember this in the movie. I don't think it's in the movie, but it looks like Peter has a friendship with a store owner at some sort of leather, like luggage store, or so. It says leather shop interior on here. It's just a bunch of bags with tags on them. And looks like Peter skateboards in. So I would presume this is Uncle Ben and his shop. But I didn't find much info on this.
Uncle Ben generally has a leather shop?
I don't think
what does he normally do?
He just dies.
That's all he does. It's like he's Peter's Krypton.
Yeah.
His only purpose is to die, is to blow up. I mean, maybe there's some sort of connection with like leather bags made from reptile skins, or I don't know. That's the first thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, or he uses some of the material for the suit, but I was like, I don't remember this in the movie. But it looks like that could be Uncle Ben in that, or it's some fatherly figure that was cut from the movie. But Occam's razor, most likely scenario, it's Uncle Ben at his store, and they were going to go into what Uncle Ben actually does, which in this case is some leather store with leather suitcases with tags on them.
Bro, no idea. This is cut for a reason. This doesn't look great.
And then we get here. Yeah, it looks like another version of Peter visiting what I would presume to be Uncle Ben's store, just a different version of it. But now it's like, I guess he's like a cobbler in this. You get shoes on the side. You still see some luggage on the left. And then you see like a sewing machine in the foreground. So
okay, this is all trying to make the suit, I guess, like maybe even a montage or something.
Maybe if this is not Uncle Ben, but who knows?
Leather shop. It's just like, okay.
It's a little random, yeah.
The vegans would go nuts.
All right, so this is the Oscorp lab, which is where Peter's going to get bitten by the spider, which is important. So this kind of look did carry over pretty well into the movie, I think, as well as the lab itself with sort of the blue aura of the area where all the the engineered spiders sort of all fall on Peter.
Is that where he says that joke, I happen to be a southpaw? the Dr. Lizard or whatever. He's saying a joke to the people that are visiting the lab.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that because it's like maybe the only time he's funny in the whole thing.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be in here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's supposed to be Connors on the right because he still has both arms, and so does the other guy on the left.
That's true.
So
yeah.
These are just kind of random scientists, but presumably, right? Like this is where primarily Dr. Connors is going to be working. So this would be his lab, or at least something like this would be his lab. A little bit more of the hallways. In Oscorp, we would be inside this corporate building a lot more than in the Raimi movies. And then we have this cool look at a fight between the Lizard and Peter. As we can see, Peter's mask is off. Suit looks a little fucked up. And it says Oscorp building fight. So this is towards the end, I'm guessing, and I'm guessing that's Dennis Leary's Captain Stacy. In the background, you can see.
God, I forgot Leary was the fucking captain in this goddamn shit. Yeah, that's not a bad pick though, honestly.
He was good.
Yeah, he's good. Leary's good.
He was solid in it. It was a sort of a left field pick, but it worked.
It totally worked. Just because he did that fucking firefighter show for fucking
probably,
ever.
Yeah. That's probably why.
But still, though,
firefighter, cop, you know,
New
you
York,
can do this.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he was hilarious back in the day on Daily Show. Him and Jon Stewart would just kind of rib at each other for. They wouldn't even have like a proper interview. They would just like take jabs at each other for 15 minutes, and that was the show. That's my main Dennis Leary memory.
It was also refreshing though, because like beforehand it was James Cromwell, known for like being the farmer in the Babe movies as Captain Stacy, the Tobey Maguire one. But you know, there's a younger take, so to have somebody who's not some gray-haired old dude as Captain Stacy, like in the comics, but someone who was younger, worked for that and worked for who would be Emma Stone's father for the 2012 movie. So I think that worked really well.
Siskel and Ebert loved Babe and Babe 1 and Babe 2, man. Every time I hear Babe, I think of their rankings.
Babe 2 was like Ebert's favorite movie of that year, right?
That's what I'm saying, that they both were their number one favorite movie that year. It was like Babe, then Fargo, then Babe 2. Like it's like kind of how it went. Like they both agreed on Babe a lot for some. I don't know. I just remember that random shit for some reason. Siskel didn't like The Karate Kid, though, man. How wrong he was.
I didn't know that.
Thumbs down. Too formulaic, he said.
Well,
fuck him. No, just kidding. R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Siskel and Ebert.
All right, so this is another one from Josh Nizzi. Says, Spider-Man is making his way toward Oscorp, and there's chaos all along the way. This was toned down in the film, but there were originally more lizard people. Spider-Man would swoop in and save people from an attacking lizard man or police who have turned into lizards. So I remember in the movie,
pretty sweet.
Yeah, like in the movie, we see cops getting turned into them, but we don't really see, and then we see them get turned back into humans. And that was about it.
Yeah,
we didn't really get to see them dispersed around New York City and the chaos and Peter having to fight it. And Nizzi says here he's injured. Peter's injured, but he's saving people as he goes, and people are cheering on him. So maybe this is like an original. Like what they had in mind before the crane scene where C. Thomas Howell has everybody, all the construction workers line up the crane so that, Peter can get from one side to the next, which is, I know people made fun of that scene, but that is a solid scene, I think.
You like that scene? I think it's so weird.
It's cheesy. It is weird. It's cheesy, but it's one of those like, it's like what goes around comes around type of thing. Like, because he did save that guy's kid, and it's a nice little way to like include New York into it in like a bigger way than, because like Spider-Man 1 had that first scene where, you got all the New Yorkers on the bridge throwing shit at like Green Goblin, and kind of felt like they might have added that in reshoots post 9/11 to just kind of have more solidarity with New York. It seemed like that type of thing with it. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the more, because like looking back, I haven't seen this one that much. I haven't rewatched it nearly as much as the Raimi ones, but it's one of the ones that like stands out to me as something that I remember.
Okay, I like this movie quite a bit, but that scene took me out of it. Not as much as the fucking stupid jazz scene, but I maybe have to see it again to really give it a fair shake, but I remember that not being my thing when I first saw it.
You're more of a fan of this movie than I am, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, they made such a big deal on this in this movie about his webs grab onto actual shit. We know where the web's going every time. It's just like, okay, I'm glad you're thinking of it,
the most
but
important thing.
you should. I don't. Yeah, it's not like I just don't give a shit. At the end of the day, it's got a goddamn spider suit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were trying to make it the Dark Knight of Spider-Man, so they more added realism. I get it, but it was just like that connected with the New York Pride thing. I don't know. It felt a little awkward to me, but it's whatever. It didn't ruin the movie.
More Spider-Man versus the Lizard, but above the streets right here.
Yeah, this
and
is good.
Lizard's got bombs. Look at that. He's got like a knapsack full of bombs that he's throwing at Peter.
It's like the Hobgoblin.
Kinda. Both either goblins, instead of the pumpkin bombs, it's just regular old bombs. But it is kind of cool to see what could have been when it comes to, the third act here.
Lizard's I think he's a cool villain. I mean,
He's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I really like him as a villain. I love his look in the 90s cartoon. I think I had the toy of him too, actually, maybe. So, yeah, I had a lot of, I guess, nostalgia going into this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good pick, even though, it felt like he was built up in the previous movies. That was kind of, to me, a little, you had to get used to the fact that, okay, this is a reboot, this is a different take, it's a different dynamic between Peter and Connors, but also, I mean, it's a different Peter and Connors, but a similar dynamic to what you would expect, because it is the tragedy of, the science dude who, becomes a monster. So, that was there. It's just kind of like what has been commented before. There were a lot of deleted scenes of this guy's family. The Connors family are a big part of the comics that just never made the cut in this. There's deleted scenes that are on YouTube with his family, but that would have fleshed him out a little bit more, and maybe people wouldn't have criticized as much about he's just a dude who wants to turn other people into lizards.
He definitely wanted to turn himself into a lizard.
Yes.
So, I mean, that'd be so cool if we could do that, though. Like, at least the grow back an arm thing, man. That'd be so awesome, man. Yeah. Like, it's incredible.
So, this is more of the lizard with the bombs, with the cops who have been turned into lizards. So, there's a little bit more of what could have been.
There's a lot going on in this image.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it.
It is. Yeah, and I like the look of the cops still kind of having the clothes, partially because, visually, right, you need to be able to tell between them and the lizard, but also it evokes the old school look of the lizard with, the lab coat.
Oh, yeah. You definitely need that.
Yeah, rather than just the naked version that we got in the movie.
I know, they should have done the lab coat thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Something really striking about lizard people, their place in conspiracy theories, and I don't know, you just see it pop up a lot. It's just striking kind of thing. My favorite Mortal Kombat character is Reptile. There's just a lot going. I don't know. It's always cool to me.
We talked about Killer Croc the other time.
Killer Croc's cool. Lizard might be cooler than Killer Croc.
He's more fleshed out for sure.
He's more fleshed out, yeah. Him being a scientist is cool. And what you said earlier made me think too, a lot that underpins a lot of comic book villains is science gone wrong and scientists that couldn't control their own science, what hath science wrought kind of thing. And God, I feel like we're gonna see it sounds wild to say, man, but almost every fucking thing is coming true from science fiction. Just about. We don't have flying cars yet, but we're close to a lot of things in science fiction. Yeah, a lot of shit. Nanobots, all that. Anyway, I digress.
Hopefully we won't turn into lizards, but this is...
They made those fucking pig hybrid embryos, though.
Oh, well, that is closer then.
So, I don't know, man. Anyway, let's move on.
This is another thing. So, Nizzy describes, quote, the large antenna on top of Oscorp Tower is knocked over and crashes down onto the street. Here I took one of the backlot concepts and then put in the antenna. It's not actually in front of Oscorp in this image, but your eye is on the giant antenna crashing and people running away. So more disaster stuff that's happening in the third act, which is in the movie more focused in the side of the tower, not necessarily in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
a little bit more of the sequence. Cops coming around to what looks like the lizard, or a guy who's been turned into a lizard, considering he's still got some of his clothes on. So this is a little bit more of that subplot.
There was a lot of this, you know what, and that did feel like it got short shrift when you saw the movie. So, that would have been cool. They just, I know they lost the budget there. I mean, what else? What else would it be? You know, so it would have been very cool if they could have done that.
Yeah, definitely. Spider-Man swinging around in New York with a lot of fires in it, during this third act. And then we got this big confrontation, which is close to what we got in the movie of the lizard versus Peter in the Oscorp building on the roof, with Peter unmasked and looking buff as fuck. Look at that, he's ripped, because they're trying to evoke the 80s comics there on that. His thigh is just bulging out of
the fucking quads, dude.
Yeah,
the quad father.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what happens when you're web slinging around and doing the Spider-Man pose.
That is true, man. That's true. It does not skip leg day.
Yeah. Let's see another shot here. This is a cool one of just Spider-Man just web slinging around.
Dies again.
Yes, that's true.
Quads.
You can also see sort of the darker feel of this look versus the Raimi stuff. Just even though, like, sure, it's both New York. They both had New York at night. It's not like Spider-Man's costume is really that much brighter or darker than before. But there's something about this where you look at this and you can kind of tell where this is connected to. Not necessarily in the movie, but like the fact that this is for this take.
A darker Spider-Man, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was really shocked at how much pushback this movie got. I was so shocked by that. I guess I'm just not like I don't have my finger on the pulse of the Spider-Man fandom as strongly as I do other things. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there was a desire to see something that wasn't trying to evoke the Batman Nolan stuff with Spidey. They just kind of wanted something. I think they wanted more of the Holland stuff beforehand when we weren't, things weren't legally ready for that. Because, Avengers was the same year. So I think people just wanted something that felt like it fit, and they wanted an MCU Spider-Man type of thing, rather than a Nolanized Spider-Man is kind of my read on like what the fandom reaction is, not necessarily like my own feelings on it.
Were you against this movie at first?
I wasn't against the idea of the movie. I thought the reboot would have an opportunity to explore stuff they didn't get to. So I liked the fact that, hey, we're going to get web shooters. I'm like, okay, cool, because that wasn't in the previous version. I like that we were getting Gwen Stacy. I liked, the lizard. Like, I liked that they didn't necessarily repeat stuff, even though, yes, they did still have the origin. But I didn't really like the aspect of, hey, let's make it a little bit more Batman-esque, which is weird coming from, like, a Batman fan. But I think I've made a little bit more peace with it, considering that, once again, just like with Batman, you have to have a take, from one version to the next. And so, like, it seemed a natural place at that point in cinema history for them to go. It's not my preferred take. And I think another aspect of it is both Spider-Man 3 and this one have kind of a redemption arc for Peter, where he's deliberately sort of not, he's deliberately kind of selfish and not really that likable. However, with Spider-Man 3, there's 2 movies built up to that where he has been likable. And you also have the symbiote as an explanation for why he's being selfish and vengeful and kind of shitty to people. Whereas this one, it's our introduction to the new Spider-Man, and there is no symbiote. So it's one where I can kind of see how that was off-putting from a characterization standpoint. Kind of like what Zach said when we had him on the show, and he was talking about his issues with Andrew Garfield's version having more to do with how he was written in the first one, and how he thought that was more improved by the time we got to the second movie, where Peter's sort of fulfilled that arc and is kind of closer to being the more traditional Spider-Man towards the end. A lot of this is him learning how to be a hero, as opposed to him kind of already, being one once he dons the costume.
Yeah, the second one, I think they did kind of drop the ball though. Overall, like the villains it's just something's not working there, man. I saw it in the theater only once.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen the first Amazing Spider-Man like 2 or 3 times at home. Not recently, but I've only seen the second one once. It was just like that was enough. But I don't know. It's fine. We've covered a lot of this, I guess, before, but
yeah, I mean the overstuffingness of it, the like, hey, we're just gonna do all this to set up Sinister Six and like the next one, and have 3 different villains in this was just obviously one of the things that showed they didn't learn their lessons from the previous movies. From what happened with Spider-Man 3.
I have another hot take. I have a lot of Spider-Man hot takes.
Mm-hmm.
Would the Sinister Six actually be good? It just seems like so many fucking villains. Like, I'll ask the comments too right now. Were those Sinister Six runs in the comics, any of them, they're really that good for a movie? Or it was just like the first time in history that he was just fighting all of his rogues at once, I guess? Like, I don't know. It just feels like a lot for a movie, especially like all at once. If they did like an Avengers for villains kind of thing, and they all had a one-on-one battle for 5 movies, and the 6th one, was built up to be like this big grand finale, I'd be like, okay. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. Just for me, I'm not super into the idea of Sinister Six immediately off the bat.
Right. Well, you're probably not even down for the idea of Sinister Six, the movie, without Spider-Man, because that's apparently what the plans were, and we will cover that when we get to it. But
oh my God, they were going to do that. That was Sony's idea.
The Sony emails that got leaked out gave us that information.
They're trying to do fucking everything. They were trying to make DC was trying to make a Trench movie too. Remember that?
Yes.
For like a week and a half.
Yeah, though apparently that was actually going to be the Black Manta movie.
Was it?
The Trench? Yeah.
Oh shit! I did not know that. All right. Okay. Well, sorry to derail again, but I love my tangents. Let's get
Amazing Spider-Man. So
we're back.
More of Spider-Man running on top of taxi cabs. Very classic. Another one of him in front of this natural ad that's at the top. Coming
2012. Oh, 11 years ago.
Yes.
At the time of this recording.
But again, from the concept art, you can now get a close-up. This is kind of our first real close-up on the Spider-Man suit, and you can see how it's, it feels different from what we've seen for the past few episodes on Spider-Man concept art, because now we don't have the raised silver webbing from the Raimi films. So this it's not quite what the suit would look like in the movie, but it's like a close enough approximation for concept art. And then
yeah, it's cool.
This is what we're going to leave off on before we go on the break. But it looks like there was going to be a fight between Spider-Man and Lizard on a bus.
Okay.
That got cut on a double-decker bus, and they're at the top of that bus as it's speeding through. And so they're fighting here. They're fighting through traffic as well. As we can see here, there's a chase. You can see Lizard and his tail chasing after Spider-Man. And it looks like Nizzy is sort of looking at what the back lot looks like on the top left. That might be the Warner Brothers back lot for this. So
yeah.
It looks like it.
They shoot like a lot of shit in there, huh?
Yeah. They've definitely shot some of the Raimi Spider-Mans there too.
Yeah.
And then this is the New York sightseeing bus that gets fucked up in the crash. But it looks like it's the speeding bus that they're fighting on the top that crashes through the cop cars. And the cops are shooting at Spider-Man 2 during this, because remember, he's a wanted man. He's a vigilante. And yeah, this is just chaos from here. This would have been a really cool sequence, though, when I'm looking at this.
This would have been awesome.
Disney's really rendered this well. Again, I don't really know story-wise how that would have worked with some of the other stuff, but it's just cool to see sort of the idea. And then eventually the bus was going to crash into an ice rink, an outdoor ice rink.
Honestly, this would have been awesome.
Yeah.
This would have been quite the spectacle. the writer must have just went absolutely nuts. Like, budget not in his mind at all.
It probably was budget in terms of why this.
Yeah.
Because when you look at this and then you get to the movie where you don't get as much of the lizard cops, and it's all in the Oscorp Tower, which was already built for the movie. You're like, okay, that's probably because of budgetary reasons, as opposed to seeing the speeding bus through the streets of New York crash into an ice rink as Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting at the top of it.
Oh man, yeah, this all looks really cool. Like if you had this plus the lizard dudes, oh man, it would have been pretty crackerjack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't necessarily know how, like, what happens afterwards, but yeah, this is them fighting again. This is another shot of them fighting again on this bus that's just going. I don't know who's driving this thing and but like some mechanism's probably like creating it to be able to do that.
This is why we need make a little bit less superhero movies. You can't believe I said this, but but then focus on bigger budgets for their third acts. With the more we get, it's because like I would, instead of like Quantumania, I'd like to get this. You know what I mean? Like some real.
Yeah.
Quantumania did have crazy set pieces, but still, I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen anything quite this epic. This looks fucking epic.
Yeah, and so who knows what happens after Lizard gets crashes into the ice here, but probably leads into another fight that's on the ice or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't have anything to show for that. This is it when it comes to Nizzy stuff. So maybe it was just an idea they went through, and then they were just like, never mind, we're throwing that out of the script. It's all going to be on the tower. And then, they just didn't bother doing the concept art for it.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're going to find some for the Patreon. But until then, after the break, we're going to go over the different concepts for Spider-Man and the Lizard. So check that out after the break.
Don't skip the break. We got charity info in there. Listen, please.
It's time for the September announcements, everyone. So, strap yourselves in. We have a few to let you guys know about. First one is, similar to what we've said before, we are starting to get closer to our goal for $300 a month. Thank you to you guys who have recently signed up. But we're not quite there yet. So, once again, join the Patreon, help us out, help us reach that goal of $300 per month. Once we reach that goal, we will celebrate on the main show by covering Superman Lives. I don't know how many drafts, but we'll see. But I'll try to do my best on that one. But that is the main part for that.
Don't you want to see us cover Cage's red Speedos for 7 hours or more?
If we get to 400, maybe we try to get a replica suit and put Andrew in it. But we can really discuss that internally.
That would be like not with just the Speedos, but with the full suit. I've thought about doing that because I actually, you know what? Yeah,
you got the hair for it.
If we get up to 500 a month,
there we go.
I'll get the suit. And we'll do a photo shoot. How
Surely
about
there's
that?
somebody on Etsy. Yeah, somebody on Etsy who can recreate this one.
500 a month, that's the goal, but the first is the 300 a month to do the coverage of the unmade movies.
Yes, for sure. So moving on to Metal Force.
Okay, everybody, so the campaign is ongoing as of this recording, and we need your help. We have crossed our initial goal of $2,000, which is great, but actually our full goal is $100,000. So this is because it's a feature. It's a live action feature. Some people have been confused by the art. After I did it, they think it's animation. So let me make that clear. This is a live action feature that is to be funded via Kickstarter, and it's basically R-rated Power Rangers meets Stranger Things. The elements of those, basically. It's not a fan film in any sense, and it's not directly. It's got those influences of those elements from those shows in its DNA. Let's put it that way, okay? So let me just spell that out for everybody. But yeah, if you want to go to kickstarter.com/projects/metalforce/metalforce, that's 2 Metal Forces, you'll get right to our page. The link is right there in the video. And just trying to campaign this month and bring it on up. So that would be great. Please help support indie filmmaking. Hollywood has fucked us. Indie horror, indie tokusatsu, indie sci-fi, and a little bit of indie comedy. Indie filmmaking, everybody. So if you could, that'd be great. We're coming after Bat in the Sun. So, and Machinima too. So that's it. Yeah, and also MetalForce.Ninja. The Kickstarter link is on that page as well if you want, but the direct link to Kickstarter is right here. So yeah, let's bring it on up. And thanks to everybody. I've seen some of the people from the podcast have already donated. So that's awesome. And if we could just bring it up even more, that would be great. So that's it for Metal Force.
Sweet. All right. Other thing is, our friends at Neuverse Creative have released the audio drama version of the Batman '89 comic, adapted and narrated by yours truly.
Woo!
So this is a full cast audio dramatization of the Batman '89 comic, written by Sam Hamm and art by Joe Quinones, that I adapted and I narrated it myself. But keep in mind, because people have been wondering about this, it is not a direct transcript of the comic. It stays faithful to the core story. But I've added a few things, combined a few scenes, made a few changes to adapt it to the fact that this is a, fan-made audio drama setting. So there are some Easter eggs that are not in the comic, but I put in the audio narration because it was appropriate for audio. It wouldn't have necessarily been as appropriate in a comic. So let me know if you catch them, either in the comment section here or in the comment section on YouTube. Part 1 has already been released, and as of this recording, Part 2 may be released by the time this gets out. I'll have to find out, but that's what's up when it comes to the audio drama stuff, and of course, there will be a couple more on the way that I adapt, maybe not necessarily narrate, but I adapted, and you'll just have to find out when we announce those.
Tell them how long it is, Ben.
Each one is about 20 minutes.
Okay, so you guys can do it on your commute very easily.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep. So thank you for that, and thank you to anybody else who has already listened and left comments on that. Lastly, our charity for this month is a big one personally for me because September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. For those who don't know, I'm a survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and so this is a cause obviously personal to me. If I did not survive the cancer, I would not be on this show. So you can donate anything that you can to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society at www.lls.org. That's to help, fund cancer research to help cure blood cancers like leukemia, like lymphoma, for those who, were not as fortunate as I was. So for those who are currently going through battles with cancer or similar chronic life-threatening illnesses, of course, we all wish you, the best in keeping, up the good fight. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Ben has his story, and he's covered it before on the podcast, and glad you beat it, Ben, and hopefully we can support other people going through this. And, just again, generally speaking, we can't just be loving hero shit all the time and not try to actually help people. We thought of this idea as a way to put our money where our mouth is kind of thing. So please check out the link in the description and donate if you can. So that's awesome. And also, Ben, actually another question.
Sure.
Does donating blood help this at all, or is that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's a case where people who may need blood transfusions could use it. I was not someone who needed it. So
okay.
I'm not aware of that, but that's because that was my specific case. Other people might have stuff that was more severe that require blood transfusions, in which case donating blood could help, but I personally don't know.
Okay. And last thing I'll say is my grandfather on my father's side did die of Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was 34. So yeah, I never got to meet him. I'm older than he ever got to be. He did not ever get a cough checked out for 2 years, apparently. And because he was too poor, didn't have any health insurance. And died very early on. And I grew up with my dad. Of course, as it's one of those things you shouldn't get over. But my dad was never over that, and used to hear about that kind of stuff all the time. So, yeah, cancer fucking sucks, dude. As you know more than me, Ben. Anyway, so yeah, please support. Look at the link, and lls.org.
Tiptoe through the tulips.
We have returned, and so has Spider-Man. So, get a load of this monstrosity.
Man, what's going on here?
I don't know what they were thinking when it came to this. So
There's no way this could be the Bane costume. You would have caused the biggest fucking uproar.
this
ever.
came from Ed Natividad, who we're familiar with because we showed Ed stuff for the Batfleck stuff. So this is, I don't know what they were thinking. It says costume exploration on the bottom left.
Exploration.
It looks like he's naked.
$20.99 ish. I don't know why I think that, but like,
I guess because it's more red than, it's more of one color than the other.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. This just doesn't work though. It's just I don't know what it is, man. Just not great.
It's like, I know you want it different from Raimi, but let's make him look like the comic book character, please.
Yeah. I don't really like it either.
So thankfully they didn't go with this. So this is closer. Here, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Also from Ed. So much closer to what we would end up in the movie, though I don't remember as much of a break in the ab section.
No, they don't. I think they didn't have
I don't
that.
think so. Yeah. But this is a little closer to what we would end up going with. Still a little different. I think the chest insignia is still a little different, even though it is along those same lines. It looks like we're still kind of dealing somewhat with silver webbing, but it's not raised up in the same way as the Raimi one. So
right.
This is kind of an interesting look. And now we have a look at the web shooters, which we've kind of commented beforehand were super important for certain sections of the fandom. It's not something that Andrew or I think it is. We can go back and forth on it. I like the fact for this one that they had it simply because we didn't have them in the previous one. So
right.
Whenever there's a reboot, I'm just like, hey, cover shit that we didn't get in the previous one. That doesn't necessarily make it better. It just means that, hey, it's different. Let's explore something else because we got decades and decades of comics. So I thought they made the right choice by including it. It says, might suggest mixture is secured elsewhere in the suit. So they're playing around with how do the web shooters work, because this is the first time that they're incorporating them in these Sony movies. So it does sort of evolve into the shooter that's on the bottom, sort of like the circular device that's on his wrist that has some sort of like cord that goes somewhere else. I don't know where that goes that produces the fluid, but somewhere on his body.
That part hasn't been figured out yet.
Yes. And yeah, a little bit more of the mechanics of this. It says bullet web cartridges are fed of the delivery and discarded when fully expanded. So, they're really trying to figure out how do these work. And it's cool to kind of look at the different ideas here. Blue capsule contains H2O and is combined with web formula. 2 sets of refills are hidden within the glove. So they're also thinking about what if he runs out? Which is good thinking. A little bit more here, the different web shooter designs. And now we've got Spider-Man himself looking a little shiny.
Yeah,
a little different.
Shinier.
Yeah. Again, this is one where the silver webbing kind of... maybe this is the product of it being a digital render, but it looks... The silver webbing here kind of just looks a little weird to me.
Do you prefer that how Raimi did it, or you just want you don't mind either way? You just want something different for the newer one, or what?
I think. I mean, look, I think the silver webbing on the Raimi one is iconic, but when you do a reboot, I do expect something that's different.
Right.
It's inevitable. So I didn't mind the fact that they didn't have the silver webbing on this one. In fact, I prefer that they didn't, just so that it wouldn't seem too close. Try your own version, something that looks a little bit more homemade. I think that's what I liked about the Garfield suit, and the the Holland suit kind of went even more so into it with Homecoming, when they revealed, he spends almost half the movie, or it feels like half the movie, but the last third of the movie in like the really makeshift suit. So like that homemade feel that we didn't really get from the Raimi one, because it was more or less the comic book one brought to life in a very sophisticated looking way, but sort of the more rundown look. I liked seeing that.
Okay. Got it.
Got a little bit more. We got him. We got him doing some leg lunges in the top right.
He's working the psoas muscle.
Yes.
He's got to stretch that out. Lower back pain.
So let's see. What is this? This is him approaching the hideout for the lizard. This is from Matt Cobb's concept art. Let me see. Is it Cord or Cobb? Let me look at my.
It's kind of cool how dark it is, though.
Yeah, in the sewers.
That's like super dark, but then he's the only like colorful thing in the frame. That's all. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, definitely worked. And then this is the fight with the lizard in the sewers. Before the lizard figures out Spider-Man's identity looking at by grabbing the camera. That's his property of Peter Parker.
I mean, am I wrong, or is this the only Spider-Man movie where he kind of makes a web and walks around it like he's a spider?
Ooh, I think you're right.
Right?
I might be wrong on that, but I think... I mean, outside of... I mean, there's ones where he and, like, MJ are lying on it, but that's not the same as him, like, literally making the web. Like, that was another cool sequence that stands out, was him, like, he's on part of the web, and he's, like, shooting more and more, and he creates this intricate thing so he can set up the camera. Like, that was cool.
I like that a lot. That was kind of like some Spider-Man shit I always wanted to see. Not that, we've been dying to. There's a lot of stuff that we haven't. What am I trying to say? We've seen a lot of Spider-Man stuff. It's not like we've been wanting for a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. Gotcha. But that was one thing I was, kind of wanting to see, and this movie had it. So.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool little sequence there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this next one comes from Fabian Lacey, and it looks like Spider-Man saving the cars on the bridge in the sequence where he identifies himself as Spider-Man to the construction worker dude who's going to save him later on in the movie. But it is cool. It's a really cool sequence, and we have this shot here, which is great, of all the cars that have been saved by him. Just hanging off the bridge.
Can you do a good New York accent?
That's my response to that.
I can
try to do like a mobster type of thing, but that's not necessarily like New York.
It's Spider-Man. Like, dude, I feel like as hard as I try, like being from the South, I don't know, like I feel like we're not good at it. We're missing something. Like, I'm sure maybe some people will chime in like, no, I'm from Mississippi and I can do a perfect one. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people can't do a great New York accent if you're from you're from California, but I'm from Southeast originally. Mm-hmm. And like every time I try, it's like kind of sad. Like, I'm walking over here.
Yeah, give me some time. Give me some time on that one.
It's Spider-Man. It's New York.
So I'll try it sometime. I'll try it next time.
He saved my life. Mozzarella.
So Spider-Man with the family, which looks pretty precarious. It looks like the father in here is like balancing himself on the car door with the kid. So that's a shit ton of weight. But yeah,
precarious indeed.
Yes, they're trying to figure shit out. All right, here we go.
This is
cool. We have the lizard. So this is from Ian Joyner of Legacy Effects, and this is sort of a rendering, a little bit of Creature of the Black Lagoon in this. Just slightly.
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah, just sort of almost look like the Gills type of thing, Gillman type of thing with the cheekbones there.
Yeah, he's cool.
This is a little closer to what we get in the movie. It seems a little greener in this.
Greener, yeah, some purple.
Yeah. This is very different though. Look at that. He's got like webbed armpits.
The face, you've just gone completely non-human.
Yeah, this has just been this is a complete monster type of thing, which is cool. But I like what they did with the movie better because it's like you want to still see the humanity that's there.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
A little closer, what we would end up getting in this one. And yeah, it looks like they found what they liked here, where it's a nice mix of lizard with like a more human-looking face. Here's a look at the tongue and the fangs of how that was going to look. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
On to Spider-Man himself. It looks like they played around with gold lenses for him in this shot.
That's just a no, man. I just like gold lenses. Are you kidding me?
So
it's immediate pass.
What about on the Iron Spider? Because it's supposed to be like the Iron Man thing of gold and red.
Well, that's like he's already had like 3 or 4 suits already, even at that point, hadn't he? This is a reboot. This is the first suit.
Yeah, I know.
Supposedly.
I know. I'm just pointing it out. So
oh,
might be like, what about Iron Spider?
I'm
like, well, there's a reason why.
On Iron Spider
over this. Yeah.
Yeah, Iron Spider I don't mind. I think that suit's that's pretty cool suit. It was cool. Yeah.
I don't think it's because it's supposed to evoke a certain suit in the comics, and like you said, it wasn't the first Spider-Man suit. That we see in the reboot. So, and plus with this one, it's just the gold lenses. There's nothing else that's gold, so it just doesn't really work. You kind of want the white lenses with this to go with the rest of it. Or
at least for the first movie, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, look, experimentation is important, I guess, but I don't know. It's not good for me.
All right, next one. A little bit more of a traditional look on Spider-Man in motion as he goes from the roof of a building to taking down a criminal down below.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. A little bit more Spider-Man. We're back to what looks like silver or white lenses.
Okay.
A little bit more traditional. This looks pretty close to what we would end up getting. I haven't done a comparison with the movie, but this looks close.
Okay.
So a little bit more of a sequence of Spider-Man chasing after the lizard, potentially another take, right, from artist Gloria Shi on the third act, if that was indeed part of the same sequence there. So pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yes, there's another one. Similar one from Gloria here of Spider-Man chasing after the lizard in the streets, which seems like it would lead up to that bus sequence later on.
Definitely, yeah. There was a lot going on. And then end up in the ice rink.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So Jared Morant and Aaron Sims' company worked on some other renderings, so this is another take on the lizard, different from what we would get. A little bit more human than some of the other stuff, but still more monstrous than the one that we would get in the movie.
I just want to see the 90s Spider-Man cartoon brought to life. That's what I want.
Give him the lab coat.
Look. Need the lab coat, dude.
Yeah.
Like, again, Reptile in Mortal Kombat, in his lizard form, he's just, like, naked, and it's just like, dude, give him, like, some ragged clothes or something, like Wolfman, like, clothes when he transforms. Like, I feel like you just need that.
Yeah, especially because he's a scientist, so you want that reminder.
Yeah, dude, totally. Like, again, only tangential probably, but, like, Mystique being completely naked. Like, sure, it's a naked woman, but she's all painted in blue. Maybe, I don't know. It's just like, I wanted the skulls. I wanted the skull and the skull belt or whatever, and the fucking, like, the whole deal. Like, the white dress and the skulls. I don't know. Yeah, they never did, dude. That's one thing I would definitely want them to bring back in the MCU X-Men. Anyway, yeah, this is, it's okay. Just, ragged clothes, please.
Yeah. Doesn't look like they experimented with that. They just really wanted him naked.
They really wanted him. Lizards are, to make him seem like a full lizard. I get it, but yeah, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
his legs look a little stubby here, sort of. Well, yeah, kind of.
He skipped leg day compared to Spider-Man.
The quads.
Earlier in this,
you got the calves.
This is why Lizard wants to go after Spider-Man. He was like, "You have better quads, Peter." So
I've heard you need 2 leg days. I'm going to start adding another leg day myself. Anyway, this is even stubbier here.
Every day is leg day for Spider-Man when he's
That's what it looks
all
like.
over the place. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit more of the
man.
monster. Yeah, it just looks like they never really experimented with having the lab coat. It was always just going to be Naked Lizard, which, like, I get from an artistic perspective, you're talking about also sort of having it break up the design, but in another way too, right? Like, it just makes it less generic looking. Like, if I showed
think
this
so.
and be like,
Yeah.
hey, is this Killer Croc, or is this the lizard? Or is this reptile? Like, you could get three different answers from different people.
No,
but
exactly.
Put the lab coat on him, and suddenly you're just like, okay, well, that's the lizard from Spider-Man. Clearly.
So
it's the
we're in
lab coat.
agreement. We're in agreement on this.
Oh, yeah. They should have
yeah.
absolutely given him the lab coat.
100%.
And if they found, dude, if in No Way Home they found some way for him to get the lab coat.
11 out of 10. It's already a 10 out of 10 movie. We're going into 11. Into the goddamn stratosphere.
Especially when they found a way to get Dafoe in, like, purple and green. You know?
Yeah,
Like, they found some ways to honor the comics. They got Electro looking more like the comics with the design, with his, the electricity. So, like, they could have found some way. He takes it from Peter at one point in the lab.
We were at 9.5, and then Toby gives that stern ass look.
It went up to 10 for you.
It's 10, baby. Immediately. 10.
See, some more renderings here of sort of like the transformation. Oh, there's the coat.
There's the fucking coat.
There's
You
the
guys
fucking
skipped
coat.
it. Should have put it in it.
Should have done it.
Look at that. We got the coat in the other one too.
It's not even in the it's not even in the 3D development, the digital environment versions. It's just in these sketches.
Man, oh man, it would have been cool.
Back to Naked.
That's where the MCU needs to step in, but I don't know if they'll ever get to that, man. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I guess they would feel like they covered it because of. I mean, I get that it's not from his universe, but
that's true. We already had this
they
fucking
technically
movie.
covered those 5 villains.
That's true. We already had Lizard with fucking. Like, let's just move on. Like, and plus, we have Secret Wars coming up, and the fallout from that is Venom, right?
Yeah.
Like in the comics. So we might have Holland versus Venom of some sort.
I think that's more in demand than Holland going up against another version of the Lizard.
Yeah, because we can do Venom over and over because he's more popular than
Yes.
Connors. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
At least we have this movie. It wasn't bad at all. So anyway,
More of a human face on Lizard. It could be they were trying to be even more human than what we got in the movie, or this is like towards the end of his transformation. But you see a lot more of the human face with this one.
this is like, I don't know. It's a little too human or something. But
Yeah, they went overboard. Unless it's like the final stage right before it switches into what we got in the movie.
yeah, like a snout kind of thing, or
Yeah.
doesn't the '90s cartoon one have kind of a snout?
Yeah, a big one, I think.
Yeah, kind of a big one, right?
Yeah.
So this next one looks like maybe the best one so far for me.
This looks, closer to what we got in the movie, but still a little different. He's a little greener. You got the black stripes. You got the human eyes, though. The human eyes are important.
This is my favorite one so far. I like this one a lot.
I think it
This is
works. Just
good.
add the coat. What if they add the white lab coat to this one?
That'd be now we're talking. Like that would be so good
10 out of
because
10.
he looks lizardy enough, but he looks like he can emote in this.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it's good. This is good. Bright, it's kind of bright green too. So yeah, we're talking here, I think.
Yeah. Another take, Naked again.
This looks very similar to the
Back
other one.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, eventually these all sort of blend together. All right. And then this is a look at Spider-Man. So this is our last one that we're going to be looking at, but other designs for the Spider-Man outfit. Interesting to see that they really wanted to fuck around with the midsection there. Like the one on the far left has a lot more blue. In the abs, and then the one in the middle is a little bit more broken up in a weird way, and then the third one kind of evokes. There's a little bit of 2099 in that.
I hate
the
the
way that one
leg.
looks.
The leg patterning. It's terrible. The
Web,
none of these.
the red web coming up.
I mean, no offense to anybody, but none of these are really. I think what we got in the movie is better than all of these. Like this is just off, man. Like I don't know, dude. It's too much. The third one's the worst, I think. Don't you think?
Out of these, looking at this,
I'm not a fan of that third one. Far right is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
I'd put the one in the middle as a close second.
Okay.
I don't really like it that much either.
I don't like the half shirt looking Bill and Ted half shirt looking thing on the first one though.
I mean, I don't like any of them really, but if I were
No.
to have to pick, I mean, out of the three, I mean that one at least basically
yeah.
looks like comic book Spider-Man, but with like a half shirt.
Oh, one? The first one?
Yeah, one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, I'm just like, okay, you're fucking around way too much at the arm area and breaking up the abs in the second one, and then the third one, it's like it's all over the
Just
place.
complete shit show. Yeah, the pants look like they were made by somebody else from the top.
Yeah,
it's
and then
just
it
not
also
a-
looks like they photoshopped a random head. Like the head doesn't fit with the rest of it on the third one,
It's like
right?
like it should be like a young demographic anime Spider-Man or something. Like there's that Spider-Man and Friends thing, which is like for literally 3-year-olds on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like maybe there.
Yeah, none of these really worked, but it's interesting because with the Raimi one, they stuck true to the comic of the Spider-Man outfit. So for the reboot, I think it was sort of like, well, how do we make it different, but still recognizably Spider-Man? And I think they hit a decent balance that was better than a lot of what we ended up seeing for the concept art of being like, hey, let's just do it without the raised webbing, have a slightly different spider insignia, maybe darker lenses for the eyes, and maybe different shades of red and blue, but it's still recognizably Spider-Man when you see him.
Right.
And I think that was the right way to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it was a good suit, I think.
Yeah.
The final product.
So at this point, I would ask what was your favorite, but I think you already said the lizard design and the bus sequence where it crashes into the ice rink. I think those are the highlights.
Yeah, definitely.
That was really cool.
You?
Yeah, well, the ice rink one for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I was going through Dan's findings, I'm just like, I don't remember this in the movie at all. And then just going through, I'm like, shit, this is an entire deleted sequence that never made it. That's really cool to see, and just imagine how cool that would have been on screen.
So I'm on record several times saying I think this movie is fine. I like it. You are okay with it.
I mean, am I okay with it? I'm trying to remember the last time I saw it, because like it's one of those things where I don't really remember enjoying watching it, but I also can't tell you that much about like it's because I'm just like I hate it. I need to say like my reasons, but I don't really hate it, and I don't really have a lot of reasons for disliking it. I think it's just more preference on characterization on Peter. I think it's more preference on how the origin was told in the Raimi version. Even though, like, yes, I know you should judge it on its own merits, but it's kind of hard to when a lot of the same beats are covered.
It's the same fucking character. It's the same characters.
Same character.
Yeah. So yeah.
Same general idea. Even though like it's a different villain, different love interest for sure. I think Andrew Garfield obviously is a fantastic actor. I think he was great for what he was given. His chemistry with Emma Stone is indisputable. I think the best chemistry between Spidey and his love interest in any of these. But I think there was just something for me. Maybe it was I didn't really like the darker tone. Maybe it was just the way that the story was told. I don't think the second one is that great either, but I can see what Zach meant about Garfield Spider-Man being more likable in that one as opposed to the first one. So like it's a mixed bag. It's kind of like just how I feel about the early Snyder stuff with the DC, like pre his Justice League Snyder cut, where I'm just like, it's got some cool ideas, it's got good casting, it's just kind of a mixed bag for me. I wished I liked it better.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. This was just one of those times where I felt like pretty different from the internet. Like a lot of times I will sort of get a lot of what people are talking about, but with this one, I don't know. it mostly worked for me. Not perfect at all, but it was fine. I wasn't like dying for. I guess I just wasn't dying for MCU Spider-Man as much as everyone else was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That was my theory, but I just remember so much at the time being just like, so is it tied into the Avengers? You know, like is it tied into the MCU? And I'm just like that. Yeah, I don't know.
You hadn't given up on Sony just yet.
It was just one where
we are now.
It was a different time, man. I mean, like it's.
I know. I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah. Like it was just one where I'm like, hey, like if it's cool that they can tie it in, awesome. If not, then just let it be, because we grew up with Superman. I mean, not Superman, but superhero movies in general that didn't have to tie into each other. So the idea of just an Avengers movie in itself just seemed like it was a pipe dream. So to have Spider-Man crossover would be awesome, but it's like, it's not required. And then suddenly, like, cut to 2016 and it's happening. So I'm like, okay, well, there we go. But you kind of needed this in-between stage, it felt. And it just feels like there was a lot of untapped potential there, especially with, Andrew Garfield in the main role. You know, you have somebody who's a fantastic actor who is a huge fan of the role, and yet he's sort of let down by a lot of the mismanagement of where this franchise was going to go.
Yeah, Sony fucked up.
Yep. And on that note, that is superhero stuff you should know.
Coming soon from Neuverse Creative.
Riddle me this, Fred! What is everything to someone and nothing to everyone else? Your mind.
In an uncertain world, in a chaotic time, justice wears a mask.
Batman does not kill? What if he was slain during his fight with Jack Napier, the Joker?
Love is a game.
Let's just say I could write a heck of a paper on why a grown man dresses up like a flying rodent.
Bats aren't rodents, Dr. Meridian.
Power is a machine.
Question marks, Mr. Wayne? My work raises too many question marks! Here's one for you. Why hasn't anybody put you in your place?
And revenge is a trap.
The bat must die.
Courage now.
I saved you a bad butt back there. I think a little appreciation is in order.
Truth always.
Who's the boy wonder, Batman?
Experience the original Batman forever. Finally performed in the style of the Burtonverse.
I see without seeing. To me, darkness is as clear as daylight. What am I?
Batman 3, based on the screenplay by Lee and Janet Scott Batchelor with Akiva Goldsman. Adapted by Ben Wan from Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
My parents were murdered in front of me. I was just a kid. I can't remember exactly what happened. But now there's a new element. A red leather book.
Coming soon.
Big thanks to Dan for gathering all the visuals for the YouTube experience, especially that the sequence with the ice rink. That was awesome. Had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, we had a big comment from Volwright X on the Spider-Man 2002 concept art episode we did, so that kind of ties into what we were talking about today. Volwright says, first of all, I'm sorry to hear about Matt, in reference to Matt Herring, who was a
fan of ours. May he rest in peace, and I wish his friends and family the best. Thank you.
Thank
you. As
you.
for the episode, I'd like to add some observation in regards to the web shooters in 2002's version. I'm actually inclined to believe they were originally going to use them, but were later removed. Here's why I say that. During the scene in Peter's room, if you look at his wrist, it looks like something was airbrushed out. What we have here on the bottom left is Dan's screen cap of what was linked over. Fullright says, I know it's a fan reconstruction, sorry for that, but I couldn't find the original scene on YouTube, and that specific moment is from the final movie. But more importantly, on both the scene after Spider-Man first rescues MJ and while he's hiding from Norman on Thanksgiving, the shooter's nozzles are visible on the suit's gloves, which you can see. So if you look at the center Spider-Man picture with him across from MJ, if you look around his wrist on the bottom, you can see something there. Same thing with Toby on the right, where it's the hand on the bottom right, where you can kind of see something poking out from his wrist. So that is interesting. I'd not noticed that before.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered this before in some way, though, haven't we? Didn't we cover something about these wrists being in something?
Well, we covered that they were playing around with the idea of web shooters in the movie, but
and there
not
was
necessarily if it was in it.
And there was some shoot where he did have them, but they cut it or reshot. I don't know.
There was a trailer. There was a trailer.
Yeah.
Them.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I'd also like to bring up that apparently an early version of the suit had black lenses, as we can see on the bottom left, which are possibly also briefly seen on the final film during the flip and punch combo at this scene, which we have in the center with the montage of him taking out a bunch of criminals. Now, what I'm about to say is all speculation, so take it with a grain of salt if you want, but I think these early black eyes influenced at least two things. One was the cover for the official tie-in game, and the other is a promotional CD offered by Kellogg's, which included a modified demo of the 2001's PC game, mainly changing the original suit to that of the movie, with one exception, which of course would be the lenses. So, as always, great episode, guys, and of course I indeed tell all my friends about the podcast.
Indeed, thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I remember those days when they had like full games or demos and Serial, man. Like we used to be a proper country, y'all. Like this.
Those were the days.
There was one called like Chex 3D, which was like a Doom-like game, but you were in like a Chex world, and that's like lost to the sands of time, kind of. But like this happened every now and again, man. Like I don't think there's any toys in Serial anymore. It's toys or promotional CDs, but yeah, it's cool. I never played this game though. This might have been PC only, but yeah, it's cool. I wouldn't want this for like a main thing, but seeing it in a game is okay to me, I guess.
Yeah, in terms of the black lenses.
Yeah, the black lenses. Yeah.
Yeah. It could also be a practical thing too, with it being a little clearer for the actor to see. If we can see here, like, is it just darkly tinted lenses here? Because you can kind of see through them in this picture on the bottom left.
It's probably Oakley's.
Yeah, probably.
Like Oakley's were like people, at least where I was from, or I don't know, maybe all over. Like people thought they were like the coolest thing in the late '90s, early 2000s, mid '90s to early 2000s, and like maybe that was an influence on this. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah. On to Alicia Holiday. 6734, commenting on the Spider-Man 4.
Is this a girl? This is like, I only bring this up because our YouTube analytics say we're like 99.9% a male audience on this show. So thank you for coming and upsetting our and like, how do I call it? Like fucking up that 99%, which is awesome.
Unless it turns out that this is a male.
This could be a dude also.
See. Yeah.
Yeah.
In which case, never mind. But
yeah, never mind.
Yes.
Anyway, who gives a shit anymore?
Yes.
I'm done with it now.
All right. So, reading up the full comment, I heard that Mary Jane died because Vulture killed her. This is another rumor. I didn't hear about it, but I saw a storyboard that shows it. It was in a fan fiction of What If Spider-Man 4 happened. Sounds like somebody didn't like MJ and was going for wishful thinking. I don't really know if the storyboard is real or if the creator of the channel made it. I feel as if we would have known at this point that they were going to kill Mary Jane.
Doesn't seem correct to me.
Yeah. I think the second cameo of Bruce Campbell as Quentin Beck, because of him not Peter going in and saying that it would break the illusion. Okay, so this is my interpretation of what Alicia's saying. In the second movie, Bruce Campbell has a cameo as quote unquote Snooty Usher. That is the character name for that, and he doesn't let Peter in because claiming that it's because the play's already started. But the specific word choice is that it would quote unquote break the illusion. So
okay.
That's why she thinks that, or Alicia thinks that this is Quentin Beck as the usher in that. Though I don't know what he was doing, also pretending to be a French maitre d' in the third one, or being announcing amateur wrestlers, going up against Bonesaw McGraw in the first one. But whatever, we won't know till now. But I think again, most likely explanation, it's a different guy each time.
Okay,
it's the most likely explanation. Oh well. All right. Last one comes from Kendarius Dupree Art, 3891. This was on our Who's the Most Heroic Batman. Kendarius says, first off, I'll give Keaton this. He's the only live-action Batman who created a Gotham that no longer needed him. So this is true. Maybe we should bump him up in the ranking. However, like I brought this up in a Patreon, we don't exactly know how he did that. There have been jokes online that's because he killed everybody. So, of course, it's the safest. He stuffed bombs down their pants.
That's true. We don't know just yet. And we'll never know because, that's done.
Could be if we did the benefit of the doubt, because I know we did a benefit of the doubt thing in the Patreon. It could just be a thing where, maybe he just stuffing the bomb down that dude's pants and Batman Returns to the last of it. And then from then on, he cleaned it up the right way from the rest of it, which would be cool. But we'll never know.
Should the Flash count? That's another question. Should we
what,
really
are we just
care?
not counting that whole movie now?
I'm done. I'm done with it.
So second off, Skandarius, if you ever do a scariest Batman, this could be interesting. It should automatically go to Betaz Batman because he's the only Batman to scare someone out of insanity.
What episode was that?
Interesting.
You don't even know. Wow. Okay, I don't feel bad.
I'm blanking on this one. Kendarius, let us know on the because it could be that I didn't interpret it as him scaring someone out of insanity. There's plenty of good times where he's scared the shit out of people, but I'm just like, when did he scare someone out of insanity?
Harley,
I know
maybe?
that Harley pretended to be sane or claimed that she was sane, but I don't think it was because she was afraid of him. I think it was just because she just got the clean bill from Arkham. Let us know on that.
Yeah.
But thanks for the comment, Kendarius. And with that, on to the shoutouts.
We're here sooner and sooner every week. So, I want to thank, let's see, Carlos R., Jose D., Robert H., and the amazing Spider-Man. Yes.
This episode is for you.
Well, I'll say he because it says Spider-Man, so he's part of it, yeah. And we want to thank our other supporters. And we've told you about our friends here, and now we'd like you to do us a favor.
We want you to do all your... Well, hold on a second. I just fucked that up. We want you to do all your friends for us is what I was about to say.
There it is, everybody. The show's over. Perfect ending, dude.